Today we're going to talk about absolute and percentage error. So you need to understand that whenever we measure something, majority of the time there's going to be a difference between what we got as the measurement and what the actual measurement is. And that is due to human error. So the difference is that we have between the actual and the estimated value is going to be what we call the error. All right. And then we know that the size and magnitude of the error is going to be called the absolute error. All right. So let's look at our formulas. So we have a formula for absolute error, and then we have a formula for percentage error. If the exact value is denoted as V sub E, and the approximate value is denoted as V sub A, then the absolute error can be found by taking the difference between the the difference between the approximate and the exact value, and then taking the absolute value of it. In majority of the time, we represent error as a percentage. So in order to find your error as a percentage, you take your absolute error, which is the absolute value of your approximate minus your exact value, and you divide it by the exact value, then you multiply by 100. So let's look at an example. Donovan has his parents measure his height at home. They said that he is 74 inches tall. When he went to the doctor for his physical, they measured him to be 79.2 inches tall. Find, correct to one decimal place, the absolute error. So remember, the absolute error is going to be the absolute value of your approximate minus the exact. So your VA is the approximate height, which is what his parents measured him to be, which is 74. And the V sub E, which is the exact, is going to be what the doctor measured him to be, which is 79.2. So if I want to find my absolute error, and I'm going to abbreviate it, if we want to find this absolute error, we have to take the absolute value of 74, subtract 79.2. Now you should remember that absolute value just means you turn it positive. So if we say 74 minus 79.2, we end up getting a negative 5.2, but the absolute value of it is 5.2. Okay, so now let's look at part B. Part B, we want to take and we want to find the percentage error. Okay, so if we found the percentage error, what will end up happening is we can just take our numerator, which is the absolute error, and divide it by our exact. So we're going to say that we know that our absolute error was 5.2. So we're going to have percent error. That's going to be 5.2 because that's the absolute error, divided by the exact, which is 79.2 times 100. So if we do that in the calculator, 5.2 divided by 79.2 times 100, we end up getting approximately, and I'm going to round my answer to 3 significant figures, 6.57%. That is my percentage error. All right, so now let's look at example number 2. Example number 2. Kayla was to put carpet in her 5.3 by 7.4 office at home. She contacted a carpenter and estimated the area of the rug by rounding to the nearest foot. Okay, so it's asking us to find Kayla's estimate of the carpet area. So her estimate, if she rounded to the nearest foot, her estimate will be able to be found by taking 5 times 7, because she rounded it to the nearest foot. So we know that 5 times 7 is going to be 35, and we know we are talking about feet squared because we have the area. So her estimated value, or her approximated value, is 35 square feet. It says the carpet costs $27 per square foot. How much will she pay based on her estimate? So all we have to do here is take 35 square feet and multiply it by 27, and 35 times 27 is $945. So that is her estimated cost based off of what she rounded. Part C is telling us to find the actual area of the office space. So the actual area is going to be 5.3 times 7.4. And we end up getting 39.22. So now what we want to do is part D, which is saying find the percentage error in Kayla's estimation. So if we want to do percent error, we can, but we just need to identify what is the actual versus what is the approximate or estimated. So we know that in the formula, VA stands for approximate. So our approximate value is what she rounded it to be. So her approximate is 35. Her exact area was 39.22. So if we want to find the percentage error, we would literally have the absolute value of VA, which is 35, minus 39.22 divided by 39.22, and of course we'll have to multiply that by 100. Okay, so when we multiply that by 100, we can automatically put it in the calculator. So let's do 35 minus 39.22, and we get negative 4.22. But remember, you have to take the absolute value of it. So we're going to have 4.22 divided by 39.22. Once we see what that is, then we just multiply by 100, and we see that we end up getting 10.8. Okay, 10.8%. I'm rounding my answers to 3 significant figures. Okay, so that is the percent error there. So part E says, will Kayla have enough carpet to cover the office floor? How could she have rounded? So we already know she rounded and estimated that she only needed 35 feet squared for the area of her carpet, but she actually needed 39.22 square feet. So we already know she does not have enough. She doesn't have enough carpet to cover the office floor. So technically she should have rounded up. Okay, so Kayla should have rounded up, because you would rather be safe than sorry. All right, so that is our notes on error and percentage error.